Dancing construction workers, angels with giant heads, and whatever these things are. It's a surreal ceremony for the opening of what's been billed as Switzerland's construction of the century. Leaders from Germany, Italy, Austria and France joined Swiss President Johann Schneider-Ammann at the spectacle in Palermo, Switzerland, where a record-breaking 57-kilometre tunnel now cuts through the Swiss Alps. The mammoth engineering project links the stations of Estfield in the north of Switzerland to Bordeaux in the south. Work on what's now the world's longest and deepest tunnel started 17 years ago.
With a guest list that read like a meeting of the United Nations.
When you celebrate science, perhaps it's best to not get carried away. The inauguration ceremony included some, how should we put it, original choreography.
It was quite bizarre.
Aidalami, do you associate this kind of dancing with the inauguration of a tunnel?
I don't understand.
It's leaving you
enough.
speechless.
It leaves me speechless.
So the internet has been ablaze, in shock over what transpired in Switzerland with the opening of the longest and deepest tunnel in the world. Conspiracy research community and regular folk across the spectrum alike were in disbelief. What many are saying was the most open satanic occult ritual of all time. Even much worse than the 2012 Olympics. But it was truly shocking. It has definitely hit me to my core. When I first saw it, especially the end of the ceremony, my heart was heavy and it's just difficult to watch, but I was reassured that after what I just witnessed, there's going to be some disturbing and bizarre times ahead, more than we've ever seen. That much we should realize. These Freemasons, these so-called ruling elite, they now know they can perform outright blatant satanic rituals, short of literally sacrificing a human being on screen, and easily get away with it. They don't care. They no longer care. It's just another indication that shows you just how close we are. We're in the final phase of a plan spanning hundreds, if not thousands of years. And if what transpired in Switzerland doesn't wake you up to that, I don't know what will. This ritual was a ritual for the unleashing of the underworld. Gotthard Tunnel, underground. CERN, underground. As you'll see in this video, the connection between this tunnel, the ritual performed there, and CERN goes far, far beyond being in the same territory and both being underground.
But there is definite viewer discretion advised because there's a lot of very disturbing imagery in it. Now this happened in Switzerland, near the Swiss Alps. Air show and bizarre performance opens the longest tunnel in Swiss Alps. This spectacular air show marked the opening of the world's longest record-breaking rail tunnel in Earthfield, running for 57 kilometers through the Swiss Alps. The ceremony continued with a freakish show where some of the half-naked performers dressed as goats allegedly tried to express the hellish work through the mountain, or the fact that the gates to hell are now officially open. Let this sink in here for a moment. This is how the secular world, a Russian newspaper, described this event, where 4 heads of state were at. Even the secular world states that it was a freak show and that it strongly hinted at and conveyed to them that the gates to hell were open. That's how blatant this show was. With the main performer being the dancing goat and other blasphemous references to Christ in this event too as well. They even prayed around the lamb, and even, again, the secular world was looking at this and saying, what in the world is this showing? This is so bizarre. This is a freak show. What are they showing here? They're doing this openly. Many blatant references to Cernunnos and Pan figures and satyrs in connection to parading the dead lamb around, mocking the Lamb of God, at the same time while the goat figure is dancing around, celebrating. all during this Cernurnos dance and the witchcraft and pagan occult illustrations they were involving here with blatant witchcraft dances as well. They're displaying sparking forges and evoking video imagery on the wall referencing hell as well. Other pictures from being in the forge and the fires emerging at this time and red flames, all this coming together while the gates and the doorways are opening, bathing everything in red. This event was truly disturbing. It truly does disturb you when you watch the footage of it. This was most certainly an occult event. And they show all the red and the bloodshed that is associated with opening the door. And when they open the door, smoke emerges, just like the Bible talks about when the bottomless pit is opened. Smoke emerges as though from a great furnace. And a train comes rolling in. There's going to be a portal open. There's going to be a dimensional highway made. And things are going to come out of it, like the Bible states. And we talked about just several weeks ago, at the same time as all these other events starting, how they were blatantly letting the world know the gates of hell were about to open. With the Inferno trailer with Tom Hanks, bringing that onto the scene in connection with a lot of other things we've been studying as well, prominently featuring trains in the trailer too as well, because they use it as a picture of time traveling, moving a long time as well, but then also as a cue card to look for other events tied to the messaging as well with the train tunnel. And we talked about how in the trailer they talk about being in the underground and rivers of blood, because they know all these are tied together. The one leads to the other. And they know there's going to be a massive release of shedding of blood, and ties in with the other messaging they've put down before with the Da Vinci Code blasphemy and the Angels and Demons film, which was filmed at CERN. All these are connected by subject matter. CERN definitely does seem to be part of opening the bottomless pit. We've talked about that before. And they're now announcing that hell is about to be unleashed. The mystery of iniquity is about to be unrestrained. And then just 2 days after that, they again prominently featured on Bing the gates of Hades being opened with their Orcus reference, referencing Hades, the underworld. And we've seen a lot more messaging in between that, but then just recently on the 31st, a commemoration of the Hell of Verdun using some of the same public figures who were also involved at the tunnel ceremony, Merkel and Hollande, bringing attention to the Hell of Verdun, and we talked about that, and with the lighting evoking their same color messaging. And then the very next day, they went to the tunnel opening where they commemorated Cernurnos and pain coming from the underworld and persecution and bloodshed, celebrating openly that the gates to hell are about to open. They don't need to hide it anymore.
I do want to reiterate here again and drive home the point that it is irrelevant whether or not we believe the Bible to be true, Satan to be real. The important thing to understand and realize first and foremost, if you are a non-believer in the spiritual realm, spiritual warfare, etc., is these people do. And they are literally carrying out an agenda based on these ideologies. This is the reality. So in order to understand the bigger picture, understand why they perform rituals such as this, you must understand things biblically and spiritually. Let's take a look at various symbolism of this ritual and break it down in terms of time and space, CERN, and the opening of what is called the abyss, as described in Revelation. These are aspects I've covered from time to time, and it seemingly culminates with this ritual and only further solidifies my conclusion regarding the real agenda behind CERN. So what we actually see playing out in this ritual is Revelation 9:11. And that states, "And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue his name Apollyon." And as we can see, the 9/11 memorial in New York, called the Infinity Pool, is a direct reference to Revelation 9:11, and that is no coincidence. It is a direct reference and representation of the bottomless pit, the abyss, the black void. This is what they've shown us time and time again, consistently throughout history in their occult structures and locations all over the world, 9/11 Memorial, Infinity Pool being a prime example. Even RT News wrote an article on CERN and revealed the quote-unquote curious connection between Apollo and CERN. Quote, "Now on top of all the speculation as to what CERN scientists are really attempting to do with their LHC, many observers cannot help but notice that the town in France where CERN is partially situated is called Saint-Genès-Pouilly. The name Poi comes from the Latin Apolliacum, and it is believed that in Roman times a temple existed in honor of Apollo, and the people who lived there believed that it is a gateway to the underworld. It is interesting to note that CERN is built on the same spot." End quote. So CERN was built over the ancient site of Apollo, aka Apollyon the Destroyer. The name Apollo was often linked in ancient Greek writings with the verb apollimi or apollio, meaning destroy. CERN's Shiva, of course, is also known as the Destroyer. With that said, let's look at the actual symbolism of the ritual. Let's look at the first part of the ritual, the obvious Satanism, and the worship of the angel of death, the angel of the bottomless pit. The Baphomet androgynous figure we see here, it's the Baphomet angel of death archetype with androgynous features. You can see male breasts, and that is quite disturbing, and it is exact representation of Baphomet. Here we see the green man is escorted out, surrounded by all the goat horns, and the green man, of course, is synonymous with Cernunnos, the horned god of the underworld. Moving on to the second part of the ceremony, where we see a display of projected images onto a wall or a screen, the workers form an 8-spoked wheel just before they breach through the mountain wall. 8-spoked wheels are depicted as time and space mechanisms throughout ancient artworks. They are synonymous with transcending space-time. This is why CERN's detectors, particularly the Atlas detector, is designed after the 8-spoked wheel, the 8-spoked wheel of time, because it is a time and space mechanism. This, make no mistake, is not by accident. On the projected screen, we see the mountain is now breached, representing the breaking of the veil of reality. The workers are then sucked into the void of a portal, where numerous specter-like hands are reaching out to them. Quite disturbing. Chaos ensues, and specter-like entities are released into this dimension. We now see the horned god appears in the black void, the abyss, coming out from the bottomless pit. The underworld is unleashed. At this point, we can now see the strong parallels between Gotthard's ritual and CERN, particularly CERN's occult film ritual symmetry. Here you can see naked entities in the black void of the abyss is depicted in both Gotthard ritual and CERN's occult film ritual symmetry. So after the collapsing of time and space, the merging of dimensions, the opening of the portal and unleashing of the underworld, we now see a clock is shown to be in disarray, going forwards and backwards, representing space-time manipulation or distortion. The same time distortion symbolism is also shown in CERN film symmetry. A brief close-up of the watch of the character named Lucas, which is a name that has been said to be an allusion to Lucifer, shows time going in reverse before abruptly stopping. Further exploring the connection between Lucifer or Satan and time, an interesting side note, in the film Winter's Tale, Lucifer, played by Will Smith, has a dialogue with one of his demon minions, played by Russell Crowe. In this scene, Lucifer informs his demon how he has no comprehension of the simple ebbs and turns of time, and eludes his understanding. Since Satan is also known as the serpent or the dragon, and the serpent is another variation of the Ouroboros, which is a symbol of time, we can see why Lucifer places so much emphasis on the construct of time in this scene. He is also shown reading the book A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking, although it is essentially unnoticeable unless you search for it, emphasizing once again the connection between Lucifer and time. All you have to do is pay attention to what the media telegraphs regarding CERN. When you see Wall Street Journal, for example, recently released headlines such as, quote, CERN is seeking secrets of the universe or maybe opening the portals of hell, end quote, and openly discuss conspiracy theories and address conspiracy theories about CERN, you know the CERN occult agenda is real. It's really happening. They are literally attempting to crack time and space, merging dimensional realities in order for the unleashing of the underworld to take place. This is why they've injected themes and symbolism associated with time travel, dimensional travel, CERN, particle collider, time distortion, portals, dimensional doors, and so much more in our media more than ever before. On one level, people will dismiss any notion of the CERN occult agenda being real, dismissing the possibility CERN is creating dimensional doors because it was shown in science fiction. It was shown on this TV show or that TV show. This is how they condition the populace on a subconscious level to accept these scenarios as purely science fiction and not possible. But make no mistake, what is seemingly science fiction is literally manifesting in our reality. This is precisely why it is possible reality itself has changed or been altered. Because when human beings are tampering with forces they should never be tampering with, opening doors they should never open, the result is likely something most humans cannot even begin to fathom or comprehend.
Do not speak to me of time, demon. Its simplest ebbs and turns elude your meager understanding.
We're standing in the core of the most powerful particle collider ever built. Most colliders cap out at 27%. It's a stability concern. We found a way to push through that. Earlier this year, our system went online at 82% capacity, at which point this window appeared.
is the God they taught me about at school. And there is the God that's hidden by what surrounds us in this civilization.
So I recently watched this movie called American Satan. This film was made by Sumerian Films, which is also Sumerian Records, a record label with many artists under its belt. Anyway, this movie was about a young rock band called The Relentless that drop out of college to move to the Sunset Strip to chase their dreams. These kids live out of their van while hunting down live venues to perform their songs and make themselves known. Struggling from day to day, they keep running into an enigmatic old man that says strange things. First, when they arrive in California,
John 7:24. Stop judging by mere appearances, and instead, judge correctly. Can I show you boys around town?
Then they run into him again a little while later.
Do you know how long I've been stuck here, in this vessel, waiting for you four dicks to show up? Do you know how long? What the fuck?
Then they keep hustling and trying to make headway, playing shows and barely scraping by. Then, yet again, they come face to face with the mysterious man. Only this time, he's rolling in style, and he gives himself away.
Sorry, who the hell are you? Use your imagination, dude. It's not what you feel, but what you see. The devil.
Whole devil-worshipping thing's all fake. It's just shock value, tongue-in-cheek marketing gimmick.
Oh, you know, let's ask Vic's Bible-hugging mom, huh? Shall we? Anyway, let's go on inside and have that drink.
They go inside to sit down and have drinks and talk business.
This is my favorite table. Done a lot of business at this booth.
Oh, come on, guys. Don't actually believe this fucking bullshit, do you?
Yeah, I mean, why us?
Because I believe in you. I know you came out here because you know what you're capable of. So do I.
Pop stars, they're the ones who influence the masses. We're just a rock band.
Oh, pop stars are so fucking boring. Anyway, I've got most of them.
Like who?
Jay-Z, Empire State of Mind. I love that lyric. Jesus can't save you. Life starts when the church ends. And then his little protege, Kanye. You know, I put him on the front of Rolling Stone magazine with a crown of thorns on his head. Total fucking blasphemy.
Okay, right, look. Why exactly a band like us?
Rock and roll, heavy metal. You know, you guys, you're so loyal to me. You wear me on your sleeve.
Fucking mental.
Have you ever seen Iron Maiden? They filled stadiums full of their fans, singing along to songs like The Number of the Beast. Or what about Van Halen? Running with the Devil, the Stones, Sympathy for the Devil. I'm not saying I'm Satan. Just saying that the devil is a catchy lyric.
If that was all real, they would never put it out in the open.
Check this out. You see this? The pyramid in the eye. Do you know what that signifies?
Illuminati.
What's that writing say?
He favors our undertakings.
Yes, I do. And this?
New Order of the Ages.
Novus Ordo. Yeah. You know, the best place to keep a secret is right in front of someone.
All right. Fine. I'm a believer.
Are you speaking for everybody? All right, I'll take one. I'll take one. We perform a ritual ceremony. And then I will make you international icons.
What's the ritual?
human sacrifice.
Oh, come on.
No fucking way.
Needless to say, they agree to the ritual sacrifice, and boom! They blow up and become the most popular band overnight with their debut album, American Satan. American Satan is AS. AS is 119, right? Backwards, it's 911. This album also reminds me of Marilyn Manson's album, Antichrist Superstar. American Satan, Antichrist Superstar. Both pretty much the same. Superstar, you could replace the word American with superstar, right? Everybody in America is a superstar or wants to be one. And Satan, Antichrist. So American Satan, Antichrist Superstar. Both very similar. Both AS 911. And let me say this, maybe these numerical outcomes or similar name patterns weren't devised by man, sitting around in a room going, let's put this in there, let's make sure this is that, you know, but rather the Matrix is speaking to us, and at times through us, you know. Reality itself, whatever it is heavily coded with hidden knowledge and messages when you're able to read between the lines. So anyway, the lead singer of The Relentless is cleverly named Johnny Faust, as in Dr. Johann Georg Faust, a German astronomer, alchemist, and magician from the mid-1400s. Just decades after his death, he became the subject of a folk legend where a man makes a pact with the devil in exchange for worldly pleasures and unlimited knowledge. This legend has had many adaptations over the centuries, leading all the way up to today. In fact, there is a 1994 Faust movie by Jan Svankmajer. On the cover for the movie, the Faust character is using his hand to cover up one of his eyes. Very interesting, right? Being that we constantly see this among famous people, Hollywood icons. Pop music stars. The fashion industry. Movie posters. Movie covers. Album covers. Magazine covers. Music videos. Products they sell at the grocery store. ads for department stores. They even have the Einstein brothers doing it with bagels. And the list goes on and on. I could easily make a 5-hour video with how much of this stuff you can find. I'll admit it sounds funny and it seems completely ridiculous and unreal, but it's exactly like the man said on American Satan. The best place to keep a secret is right in front of someone. So we have the 1994 Faust cover with the guy covering one eye, and the story is about selling your soul. Let's listen to some words straight from the celebrities themselves.
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Lisa came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
It's like the boy in the bubble who never could adapt. I'm trapped. If I can go back, I never would have rapped. I sold my soul to the devil. I'll never get it back.
I sold my soul to the devil, and the price was cheap. And yo, it's cold on this level, cause it's twice as deep.
Picture a nigga on the verge of living insane. I sold my soul for a chance to kick it and bang. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? Secret society, trying to keep the arm.
You know, I am misunderstood a lot at times. My music, my image, people have their whole thing about me, whether it be me being a devil worshiper or whatever. Besides them reading into my hand over my eye on my album cover.
Why is your hand over your eye on your album?
Because I'm a devil worshiper. What are you talking about?
Because I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. You know, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me.
If your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil.
Yeah, and it like really upset me, so I like summoned Satan, and I write about how I made it.
Where do you summon Satan?
It's in the chapter called Eat, Pray, Love, Conjure Satan. And when I was 12 years old, I signed a deal with Satan in my room, and I was to...
CBS doesn't condone this.
Wait a minute. Because I wanted to get famous no matter what.
Well, you know, there's a rich history of the devil in rock and roll. It goes all the way back to, like, Elvis was everyone said, he's playing the devil's music. What was that great song, The Devil Went Down to Georgia?
Oh, Charlie Daniels.
Charlie Daniels, he had some devil in there, and it goes even back to, before that, who's Robert Johnson?
Right.
You can find his roots, you know, way back to the beginning of rock, and so, you know, had we sold our soul to the devil, how else can you explain us being here on the
Now, I'm not here trying to tell you that these people were face to face with the devil, shaking his hand or something like that, but this all really is satanic. It's all about materialism, wealth, and living a life full of earthly pleasures while neglecting spiritual wealth and well-being. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Satan is the god of this material world, and we are always under attack, being deceived, misled, manipulated, and tempted. This is why people celebrate Christmas, and we exchange material on Christmas, and spend money. It's all about the one eye. This is why people that sold their soul for fame and fortune cover one eye. And this is why we have an all-seeing eye on the back of the most circulated currency in the world with the phrase, "In God we trust." It's not the God you were thinking of growing up. But like I was saying, forget about a red devil with horns, as that is only a symbol of the darkness that tries to influence people from a different plane of existence. Let's listen to some of the words from an interview with rapper DMX.
And then I remember one day coming from the studio at 6 o'clock in the morning and pulling over on the highway. We like 4 cars, you know, just to watch the sunrise. And it was at that point that I fell in love with Arizona. I said, you know what, this has to be God's country. You know, because I'd never seen anything as beautiful as that sunrise. Then I met the devil in God's country. You know, and it's not so much who, it's what, you know, what happens and the things that the devil does. It's not so much a person, even though he acts through people. You know, you can't call one person the devil.
Joe Arpaio?
You know, you can't call any one person the devil. You can't do that because no one person has enough power to be the devil.
So you see, that gives us a little bit of insight right there, you know? The people you deal with, they're all influenced. It's all influence. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Rock music, and music in general, has definitely been guided and controlled by spiritual wickedness. It's obvious. There are quite a few pictures of Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, hanging with musicians and rock stars. Sammy Davis Jr., Marilyn Manson, King Diamond, etc. Rock music has always paid homage to Satan, and it's never been a secret. Rap music is doing it now too.
Pussy ass niggas stop hating. Lil' tone chick got that fire, and these hoes love me like Satan, man. Yeah.
But back to rock music. Have you ever noticed the androgynous agenda? Most all male rock bands have all the members dressing like women, doing makeup and everything. This is, of course, paying homage to the Baphomet, which is their hermaphrodite god. It has a penis and a set of knockers. On its arms, which are pointing above and below, as above so below, it says solve and coagula, which means separation and coming together. This is an essential part of the alchemical process. What's funny is that the guy that plays the vocalist for the Relentless on American Satan is the vocalist for a real band called Black Veil Brides, and they dress up like women. It's getting crazy. It's either like they are guys dressing like women, or they're women, they really are trannies. There is a huge transgender agenda going on, where people that you would never suspect of being the opposite sex are actually the opposite sex. They're trannies. They were born and bred to be trannies, and this happens very often in Hollywood and, you know, the music industry, which is a part of Hollywood for the most part. Anyway, back to Baphomet and alchemy and stuff like that. The first Faust movie from 1926 is all about alchemy, and the 1994 version is made by a company called Athenor, and in Athenor is a furnace that maintains a steady temperature used by alchemists. Another interesting aspect of rock music is backmasking. Have you guys ever seen Little Nicky? I'll play a clip real quick.
But wrap your minds around this, gentlemen. Oh, no. Chicago.
I love this song.
I command you in the name of Lucifer to spread the blood of the innocent.
Oh my God, Chicago kicks ass.
That was awesome.
See, and that's comedy. People laugh and stuff, but this happens in real life. Stairway to Heaven, for instance. My sweet Satan. Can't make this stuff up. On the Beatles album entitled Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Aleister Crowley is present in the collage. It's always been there. See, you put it out in the open like this, like the music industry has done, like Hollywood has done. Put it out in the open, and people start to take it for granted. You just forget about it. You think it's funny. You think it's entertainment. You forget how real this all is. Johnny Cash, or JC, right, has a song and music video called God's Gonna Cut You Down, dedicated to the sad celebrities that sold their soul. You gotta watch the video. It's blatant. The list of connections between the music industry and Satanism goes on and on and on and on and on.
Who wants to pray to the devil with me? Who's in with me? Come on, hey, let me see those horns. Let me see those horns. Metal, 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 metal.
That's pretty much the deal with everything if you pay any attention. After all, this is Satan's world, right? That's what it says anyway. This has been ODD TV. Thank you all for watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video here at my channel. Thank you very much for stopping by. As you go about your daily lives, do you see the signs that are all around you? Do you? Are you sure about that? I'm about to show you a video that might prove otherwise. While you are watching this video, ask yourself this: why are all these celebrities, musicians, and actors, why are they making the 666 hand sign, and why are they covering one eye? I don't walk around making these hand signs. Do you? The reason they are making these hand signs is because they are pledging their allegiance to their masters, Lucifer and the Illuminati. So sit back and watch the truth as it unfolds right in front of you. Thanks for watching. God bless, and I will see you next time. Here is the video.
Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun channel. I wanted to share with you guys some information that is both disturbing, but also encouraging at the same time, and I'll explain why. Now, a few weeks ago, we published Canary Cry Radio episode number 132, Camp of the Unknown God with Carl Teichrieb. And we talked about how Burning Man is this event that is the tip of the spear for culture. And his attendance last year gave him the opportunity to understand how culturally influential this event is. He wanted to get out there again this year, but he was a little short on resources. That's when you guys stepped up. You guys who have been following Face Like the Sun, who have been subscribed and, support Canary Cry Radio, you guys stepped up prayerfully and faithfully and chipped in for the cause, and Carl Teichrieb and a team of people were able to go out to Burning Man. And in the process, my co-host Basil also made it out there. And in fact, if you're part of the Canary Cry Radio Patreon, you'll get a couple extra audio stuff where, Basil goes around for an hour at Burning Man with a microphone and you hear all kinds of crazy stuff. You really get a sense for what it's like to be in the dirt at Burning Man. It's quite intense. And we also have a sit-down conversation talking about all the stuff that he saw at Burning Man. It is over the top, folks. But we also just released a flyby. Burning Man 2018, Boots on the Ground. And this was a conversation between Basil, Carl Teichrieb, Bob, Jen Doe, who is a friend of ours and has been helping out the podcast, as well as Justin Fall of The Fourth Watch and now Skywatch TV. And in the conversation, Jen Doe and Carl Teichrieb share something very, very interesting.
The workshops are like the craziest thing I've ever heard. I mean, there was one on cryptocurrency and psychedelics and stuff. Were you at that one?
Not that one, but a different one.
The cryptocurrency and spirituality.
Crypto. Tell me a little bit about that. I meant to go in there. I couldn't.
I didn't stay at that one. I went to go speak with one of the speakers at the microdosing and ayahuasca and leadership, and I got to speak with her for about 45 minutes face to face, and it basically came down to it that she was had the real Christ consciousness in her, not the fake Christ of the Christian church, which
the cosmic Christ,
which we also learned at that workshop that there's, how do I put this? An agenda that will directly affect the evangelical mainstream Christian
So that was very, very cryptic. What does that mean?
She wasn't cryptic at all.
Well, I was intentionally cryptic.
What was the agenda? Are you keeping this secret? What's going on here? It's a secret cabal?
We aren't. It's big, and so we have to kind of figure out a strategy to attack it. And
wait, well, okay, so you said that she has an agenda to take down the mainstream Christian church.
That will directly affect.
And what is that? What is her agenda?
That's what we're keeping cryptic.
Actually,
I guess that's my question.
We were at a workshop where a very well-known personality within a particular professional field had been enlightened with ayahuasca and now has made inroads into a major Christian outlet and asked for prayer, quote unquote, by all the others who are psychedelic spiritualists, in Jen's words, spiritual drug dealers, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
She coined it. It's a great word, a great term. She needs to trademark that one. And she was so excited that this inroad for her would, in the very near future, if it all worked out, would enable her to bring ayahuasca enlightenment to the Christian community without the Christians ever really realizing that they're being sold this new way of thinking.
That sounds like a real...
The names are names were said, directly given. And I honestly think that the people involved don't understand what's going on. They're thinking that this is just simply a professional connection. But the person who was telling us had something else in mind besides a professional connection, a worldview.
So I'm assuming you're keeping this a secret because you're going to get the exclusive...
It's not exclusive. It's if we can approach this individual and organization first and warn them, then I will never even mention who it was publicly, because there's no point.
Okay.
We just don't want the other side knowing that we know.
Oh,
we felt like we were the two spies in the camp.
Got it.
They had no idea that we were in their safe.
I felt kind of like a spy here too. Got a lot of people.
Like we were in her safe space.
So there you have it, folks. An entrepreneur who had an ayahuasca experience and who wants to use her software product to secretly spread her spirituality to unsuspecting Christians. This is nefarious, folks. This is the spirit of Antichrist. And here you can see the event that they attended at the Playa. It was Startups, Ayahuasca, Microdosing, and Leadership. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with ayahuasca, it is a substance used in many shamanic rituals, and it's becoming a popular practice amongst entrepreneurial types. Now, the main ingredient in this concoction is DMT. The DMT is considered the spirit molecule based on the research of Dr. Rick Strassman, where he showed that people who receive a certain dose of DMT experience similar encounters visually, but also with entities, both positive and tremendously negative and traumatic experiences. And the same researcher, Rick Strassman, also has a book called DMT and the Soul of Prophecy, a new science of spiritual revelation in the Hebrew Bible, where he argues that perhaps the mechanics of the visions that were had by the Old Testament prophets includes DMT as part of the vehicle to have these visions. So he's not really trying to address who might be behind the visions or why or how exactly, other than perhaps to say DMT might have played a role in the mechanics of it all. And for that, I think there's something interesting there, because he does show similarities between the patients he studied and the visions that were had in the Old Testament, specifically surrounding Ezekiel. And you have to keep in mind, DMT is a naturally occurring substance in your brain, but high doses causes, what people consider altered states of consciousness or hallucinations, or what I believe are basically a view into the spirit realm. And that's because the cutting of the root of the Watchers, right? That was one of the things that the Watchers taught humanity according to the Book of Enoch. And you consider the Mimosa hostilis, which is a DMT-rich vine that's used as the main ingredient of an ayahuasca analog in Europe and North America. So I don't think this is a new thing. I think this is a very old practice that the shamans have kept in human traditions for centuries ongoing, and the entities that these people encounter, I believe, are rebel watchers who may be appearing as angels of light or just straight up demonic entities. And this is something that can also consistently be demonstrated, because every single time there's a message from this type of experience, it is categorically antichrist in its messaging, no matter how it's packaged. It's not atheistic. It's actually more pantheistic or pantheistic. It's also very pagan. That's why Carl Teichert talks about neo-paganism and the creation of the modern gods, which ties in right into the AI discussion, which has connections to the tech industry. And again, this microdosing idea is this concept of these tech guys in Silicon Valley and other places to take small doses of things like ayahuasca. I don't know if it's exactly ayahuasca or other psychedelic drugs like LSD or psilocybin. They take small doses of it and go to work. And they believe that they are more productive and are able to hone in their creativity, but really they're just allowing these fallen entities to channel through in all their work. And when you consider that, think about the products that are being created under that condition. And so this is biblical prophecy. And I suggest that because of what it says in Revelation 18, verse 23. At the very bottom of that passage, it talks about all nations being deceived by your sorcery. Now, that word sorcery is pharmakeia. And yes, that is where we get the English word pharmacy. And it means magic, sorcery, enchantment. Help Word Studies defines it as administer drugs properly, drug-related sorcery, like the practice of magical arts. And then consider the quote by Arthur C. Clarke, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Sorcery is being revitalized through technology. And I think that has been the purpose of the internet, the purpose of computers all along. And the sooner we realize this, the sooner we can begin to prepare the day we have to walk away from all this stuff. But in the meantime, again, it's thanks to the community of people that support everything that we do over here at Canary Cry Radio and Face Like the Sun, everything else. You guys are the ones that encouraged and stepped forward to help us have boots on the ground at Burning Man and look at the report we received and the potential prevention of this really, really serious spiritual agenda. Dark, dark spiritual agenda. Antichrist spirit agenda. Only our community is equipped to call those things out. And I'm actually really stoked and proud to be a part of this whole thing because it's bigger than me. It's bigger than each one of us doing this stuff on this side of the microphone. It's about God. And when he leads, incredible things happen. And I think he can use us to continue to prevent the deception that is going to be rampant even more, folks. It's going to be out of control. I think what we're seeing now with the lunatic left and all the stuff that's taking place is a shadow of how insane it's going to get as time goes on. So really need to pray up and prepare spiritually so we can deal with everything else in the physical. So thank you guys for the support, the prayers, the covering. It's really needed and it's really appreciated because it really, for us, it confirms so much of what we are being led to do in a way that is communal. And it's not just, you know, a personal direct confirmation from God. It's more like a communal verification that God is saying, hey, you guys over here, you guys are on the right track. You guys are over the target. You guys are on it. So good job. Keep it up. Stay encouraged. Even though all the stuff is getting dark, we are the light that will shine brighter as the world gets darker and darker. Have an awesome day, guys. God bless.